Alrighty, party people of the interwebs, this is going to be the summary of the most outrageous Canadian court ruling you probably haven't heard about. Before we get started though, fishing with a little leadhead jig and a bloodworm, and we'll see if we catch anything tonight. But like I tell you every time, I don't fish to catch, I fish to bask in the sounds of nature. And I'll preface this vlog by saying that this is not a judgment on what any adult should or should not be allowed to do with their body in full awareness of fact and law. This is about whether or not the taxpayers should bear the costs of an adult's decision to do whatever they want with their body in full awareness of fact and law. And there's a bit of a philosophical objection that I have to the use of language when it defies reality. In Canada, a decision came down from the Ontario Health Board Tribunal, one of the administrative tribunals that adjudicates on claims relating to public health in Ontario. And in this particular case, it's whether or not Ontario health insurance should cover the costs of a vaginoplasty without penectomy. For those of you who don't really understand what those words mean, this is in the context of a transgender adult, a male's decision that he identifies as female, has gone to a doctor who has green-lighted this entire thing, wants to have gender-affirming care, the installation of a neo-vagina, but doesn't want to have his penis removed as well. And the question is whether or not Ontario Health should cover a vaginoplasty, the insertion or creation of a neo-vagina, when it is coupled with not having a penectomy. We're going to get into the whole reasons of why in a second. The initial decision was to not cover this with health insurance. That is to say, the individual found a place in Texas, because apparently nobody in Canada does this, found a place in Texas that would do the vaginoplasty without penectomy. It costs, I don't know exactly what the cost is, but hundreds of thousands of dollars if I'm not mistaken. And the original decision of the health board was, no, this is not a procedure that is covered by socialized healthcare. Just to highlight the absurdity here, that as it stands now, the board's review approved this for coverage under public health, to go to a foreign country to have a procedure done that involves vaginoplasty without penectomy. They approve that while at the same time offering medical assistance in dying to the likes of Kayla Pollock, who got paralyzed after a certain jibby jab. They offer medical assistance in dying to veterans who call up for help with their PTSD. They can find the money for this while offering death to others who need serious, serious help. All right. So this individual, it's an acronym because the names are protected for obvious reasons, I presume, gets initially denied, then asks for a review, and the review board of 3 panelists concludes that no, a vaginoplasty without penectomy is not excluded from the list of covered procedures, and therefore it should be covered by Ontario Health Insurance. What were the reasons for which this individual wanted a vaginoplasty without penectomy? The doctor in this case, I'm going to read it because this is the mind-blowing part where philosophically I have an issue with people not using language in any manner that reflects reality. Paragraph 15 from the decision. In a separate letter dated April 3, 2022, in support of the funding request, Dr. Druce indicated that surgery being requested was, quote, vaginoplasty without penectomy. Dr. Druce stated in part, listen to this, the appellant wishes to pursue bottom surgery to continue to assert herself in her preferred gender. She will be pursuing orchiectomy separately, application in process, so that she is able to come off androgen blockers. It is very important for the appellant to have a vagina for her personal interpretation of her gender expression, but she also wishes to maintain her penis. I'm reading from the decision. This is the doctor that wrote this. Her penis. The appellant is trans-feminine, but not completely on the, quote, feminine, end quote, end of the spectrum, and for this reason, it's important for her to have a vagina while maintaining her penis. Straight out of the decision, straight from the doctor's letter of recommendation. The surgery is not available anywhere in Canada, and for this reason, the appellant is applying for funding to have this procedure done at the Crane Center in Texas, which has an excellent reputation for GRS, and especially with these more complicated procedures. She wants to maintain her penis. There is no realm of the universe in which I am going to be bullied or coerced into using such biologically incorrect language. What adults want to do with their body, all the better, good for them. You want to tattoo your entire body? Go for it. Split your tongue down the middle? Go for it. Have little inserts under your skin? I've seen it. Tattoo your eyeballs? Go for it. No judgment. But expecting taxpayers to front the costs? There's the problem. And now it was refused initially because they say this is not something that we cover. And the board came to the conclusion that no, vaginoplasty without penectomy is not excluded, and they granted coverage. Now it's going to the higher courts in Ontario, and this is going to be tied up in the court system for a very long time. It's absurd. The old joke, you know, the inmates have taken over the prison, the patients have taken over the asylum. We are living through that world right now, and the only problem is the doctors are playing along. You get a doctor, someone who's studied biology and medicine, and you get that doctor saying that someone needs to maintain her penis, you should have your license revoked, period. Full stop. You want to treat mental issues because the applicant in this case was saying, I need this procedure to treat my gender dysphoria. At least we're recognizing that it's gender dysphoria. But to have a doctor play along with the dysphoria, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist, I'm just somebody with half a brain. That is the doctor playing along with, playing into, and exacerbating whatever gender dysphoria is going on here. And it's going to be done at the taxpayer dollars now. And not just is it being done at the taxpayer dollars, the entire lawsuit tied up in the court system, hundreds of thousands of dollars of taxpayer dollars going to be wasted debating this issue. What should be a non-issue? You're an adult, you want to do it, go for it. This is not a medically necessary procedure, except in as much as a doctor who refers to her penis fabricates a medical necessity for a vaginoplasty without a penectomy. It's wild. This is what's going on in Canada. We are either the tip of the sphere or behind the curve. In the decision, the appellant was arguing that Canada is behind the curve when it comes to the customized gender-affirming care, and that it's only a matter of time before this is the standard, the status quo. You get to craft your body like a very veritable Frankenstein. First of all, how do you even do it? I presume the reason why a vaginoplasty in the context of gender-affirming care necessarily requires a penectomy, because from what I understand, you use parts of the penis, invert it to create a neo-vagina. And so if you're going to go with a vaginoplasty without a penectomy, I presume the entire procedure is much different. How do you do that? You think you just like make a hole in a body and call it a vagina while preserving the penis? Because the person's feminine but not on the full end of the feminine spectrum? It's madness. It's madness that is being institutionalized, affirmed by doctors, and affirmed by the courts, or at least the administrative tribunals for now. We'll see what the final decision is, but that's what's going on in Canada. Oh, I forgot to add one important detail. The reason why the person also wanted to maintain her penis is because he wants to be able to achieve orgasm as well in addition to all of this, thus confirming one of the irreparable, irreversible damages or treatments, if you want to call it care, that is done to the body. This person wants to have a neo-vagina installed while retaining her penis so that he can continue to have orgasms during sexual pleasure, which makes total sense, but which might highlight the absolute absurdity of this entire experimental procedure. All right, back to the video, but I think we were at the end anyhow. I'm going to switch up lures because I don't think I'm catching... Yeah, the tail has fallen off of this. I'm not going to catch a fish with a broken worm. Whatever, that's it. That's what's going on in Canada. The most wild decision you probably never heard of, and now you know about it. If you like what I do, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, drop a comment in the comment section below. Viva Fry on Rumble, the Viva Fry on Twitter, vivabarneslaw.locals.com for the best above average community ever. We will be talking about this Sunday night with Robert Barnes at our 6 o'clock law extravaganza. Tune in. 20,000+ people every week tune in live. It's fantastic. And if I don't catch a fish off the remaining part of this cast, the video ends now, and I will show you a picture of any fish I catch before the evening is over. Peace. Booyah!